Also that our new CBO, Tanya Michelle, many people in the community are familiar with her. She will be starting on Monday, July 1. Again, asking for your approval on that, so I might be a little bit of cart before the horse. Also, as Mr. Green is not here this evening from Van Pelt, want to share some updates that we are moving forward with the several different projects. Our July 8th meeting is going to be to hopefully approve a contractor to get Mini Cannon painted this summer. And so we're very excited about that.
Coyote Valley.
Coyote Valley, sorry.
See, I read this stuff.
I'm glad you read it so you could correct me. Coyote Valley. I knew where it was in my brain. I just said the wrong name.
It's okay.
Thank you for that correction. Coyote Valley is getting painted. Mini Cannon is getting fencing. And then we are working through with Van Pelt and some other people on getting our legacy projects approved through DSA. There were 4 of them that are potentially delaying the Tallman Gym project. We have reached the point where we need an inspection, and so we have slowed down our pace a little bit. And one of the 4 has been cleared. We've gotten significant progress on the other. DSA has actually shown signs, I hate to say this out loud, I'm gonna touch wood while I say it, that they've actually been pretty quick and responsive, has DSA, and so we're hoping that that will continue. And so that's the update there. So between facilities and personnel, and then I'll share other stuff with you later this evening.
Okay. Thank you. Reports to the board. Is there an MTA representative wishing to speak? No? Okay. CSEA representative. Here she comes. Yeah, push it for about a second and then let go, and it should be on. Yes, it's on.
All right. So Leslie Ryan, representing CSEA as Chapter 228 as president. I'm happy to announce that our chapter now has a vice president. Jennifer Hitson was nominated at our last chapter meeting, and she has accepted the position. Jennifer will be a great asset to our executive board. At the last board meeting, I neglected to mention my following statement. It was Nikki Spatier's last day at MUSD as the Director of Curriculum, Instruction and Assessment. It has been great working with her in her additional role of labour negotiator. Our chapter members and I have appreciated her hard work, especially addressing and solving problems for classified staff as the issues came up. We didn't always agree, but we were able to come to a fair middle ground that was in the best interest of our staff and students. So thank you, Nikki. I also realised that our CBO, Ashley Lavelle, will leave us at the end of this month. I would also like to thank her for her hard work during her time at MUSD. Ashley has had an open door policy and has taken the time to include and communicate budget issues with us. I love how she explains that a CBO shouldn't work in a silo. By understanding and building relationships with stakeholders, she could understand the needs of our district and could work with the budget to best suit the district's needs for its betterment. Her presentations at the budget solution meetings and her in-depth knowledge helped us understand the procedures. Thank you, Ashley, for your time and efforts at MUSD. I would like to conclude with a comment on the budget and the processes we started last year. I was included in the BAC Committee Budget Action Team. Even though it was for a brief time and came to an abrupt end, I did find the information discussed helped me understand and communicate budget information and concerns to our classified staff. I hope that the district will continue some of these processes that were also used during the budget reduction meetings, so that we may continue awareness, communications, and transparency. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions? I don't have a question, but I appreciate you mentioning Nikki, and I was disappointed she wasn't here last time so that she could receive the standing ovation I'm sure we would have given her. And Ashley's got one coming too, but we'll wait till the end of the meeting.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I too would like to ditto on Ashley and Nikki and their role in this last few months, or well, a whole year, and then Ashley these last few months. It's been wonderful.
All right, community comments. Those in the audience desiring to address the board regarding items not on the agenda may do so at this time. If you wish to speak to something that is on the agenda, you can do that when that item comes up. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board and make a brief statement, express his/her viewpoint, or ask a question regarding matters related to the school system. Please understand that the board does not take action on non-agendized items. Board Bylaw 9323. I have Jenny Lacey who would like to address the board. Hi, Jenny. I think it's still on. Test it.
The light's not on.
The light goes off.
Oh.
Just say
Hello.
so. There you are.
I wanted to ask the board tonight if they have pursued with the county for the superintendent to have a mentor, because he's coming into such a very hard situation. I want to make sure we are doing everything possible to help him. I know that he's going to be helping Ange Young-Cobb, very exciting, but we've had so much turnover for leadership positions in the last 5 years. It's been devastating. And I understand people with their personal reasons for needing to go, but we are in such a bad place. I can't have the board not supporting and putting in effort and having the drive not to help our superintendent.
Thank you, Jenny. You can continue after I answer. He has a super mentor appointed to him, and we're
Yes.
very happy about that.
Good to know. Okay.
Thank you,
I just
Jenny.
want to make sure we're working hard for him. Thank you.
Would you care to expand on that?
So actually, I have a couple of things that I'm never short for words, as the district office staff will attest. First of all, I love the way that you worded that as looking to support me. I acknowledge that and appreciate that. Yes, in fact, I've been talking with someone from AXA today who's helping to coordinate and support the establishment of that mentor arrangement. The county, as you said, is actually going to be the one funding it. And so it was actually part of my contract as well. So from the very beginning, it has been, yes, that we're going to have some extra support. One of the other things that we have talked about as a governance team is, as part of my evaluation process, is my professional development plan for the year. And so there are some, in addition to a specific mentor, there are some professional development opportunities that are specific to superintendents and specific to new superintendents that I will be attending and participating in as well. And similarly, you as well as others in the community, I have felt universally welcomed and supported in the Middletown community, and I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
And thanks for caring.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody at home want to call in? Okay. Then we'll move on. Consent calendar. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered to be routine or sufficiently supported by prior or accompanying reference materials and information as to not require additional discussion. A motion is as referenced below will enact all items. So that would be an approval of minutes. We'll cover donations. While we're there, could you fill us in there, Allison?
I sure can. We just have a couple thank yous for donations.
One would be Middletown Unified Ag Boosters for their generous donation to FFA. Thank you so much. We know that's a big piece of our community, and our students appreciate the support, as do the rest of us. And also a big thank you to Latinos United of Lake County for their generosity to Ballet Folklorico. I want to make sure I get that right, to Ballet Folklorico. And that was a big piece of our high school culture that a lot of students had access to this year, so the donation there is much appreciated as well.
Thank you, Allison. We have surplus. Their old beat-up books are being weeded out of the library. Field trips. We have 2 overnight field trips being applied for now for later in the school, when school starts up again. Actually, one of them's real soon, huh? Well, this week. That would be, was that the FFA one?
Yes.
Yeah. They do their work in the summer, a lot of it. Contract and MOUs, an MOU between Middletown and St. Helena USD. It's an updated MOU between us for their increased cost per student to attend the transition program. That's the consent calendar. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Turning the page. Okay, item A under board-related items. In light of the improved long-term budget situation we find ourselves in, and in recognition of the hours of work trustees do helping to lead our district, we authorize the continuance of the status quo wherein individual board members are eligible to receive a monthly stipend and to participate in district-funded health and welfare benefits.
Can I comment?
Yes, you may.
So I want to comment for the public on this, that in January, there was a discussion at a board meeting regarding different potential budget reductions. And stipends and benefits for board members was one of the things on that list. The minutes for that meeting indicate that the list was approved for discussion and further consideration. There were several things that were on that list that have not been reduced, that have been brought back based on need of schools and programs. And as I said, and as this is written, in light of the improved budget situation, as Ashley shared with us at our last meeting, and in recognition of the work that our trustees do, and one of the concerns that I have about this coming at the end of June is I'm concerned that people will see this as a lack of transparency because we're doing it in the middle of the summer. I will be honest and transparent that I became aware of this just before the last board meeting, and in investigating and such, wanted to not have this be a non-transparent item. Some of those other things that we as staff have brought back have not necessarily come out in public. We haven't talked about the teacher that we weren't able to reduce or the paras that we had to bring back. But this one, we want to make sure that it is transparent in public, on the record, but that this is something that we, in looking at the budget as your district office staff, it's built into the budget as was presented last time. This is not something by the dark of night or anything. We're trying to do this transparently. So if anybody has concerns about this, please don't attack the board members. Come talk to me about it. I'll be happy to talk to you further about it.
Any board members wish to speak?
Well, do we have to make a motion?
We do have to have move and second before we speak, yeah.
Sorry.
I move to approve item A.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Now, anybody wish to speak?
Yeah, I just want to publicly just say that, I've been with the district, well, I did write this out a little bit because everybody that's watching it might be going, what, and I just want to let you know my feeling on it. And I've been with this district as a student in the 70s, an employee starting in 1978, and most recent a board member for the last 3 years. And I worked hard as a student, compensated by my education as an employee, where I developed a love and an ownership to stay with our district through thick and thin. I will always work hard to help make our district the best district around, and I expect anyone working here to do the same. However, I would not ask anyone to work for free as a board member. I have attended many trainings, visited schools, attended SSC meetings, school site council meetings, read through numerous emails regarding complaints and some praises, studied and researched to be informed at regular and special meetings, and yes, taken the brunt of decisions made. If we decide to vote against this item, I will continue to work hard because that is who I am. I appreciate the recognition Superintendent Crane has given to the board, and I am in agreement.
Thank you, Zoe.
Yep.
Well done. Any more discussion? All right, we'll take the vote. All in favor of the board pay and insurance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's 5-0. Just for clarification, can individual board members opt out of any of this?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Student items, nothing in personnel. Item 8A, approve the contract of Chief Business Official, CBO, Tanya Michelle. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0. Item B, 2024-2025 Sunshine of the CSEA Bargaining Unit Successor Negotiation Proposal to Middletown Unified School District. Do we have any other information on that one? Or is that just it?
That's just it. The items are, their item is in the attachment. Ours is actually, was listed as item C. We don't have any additional items beyond what CSEA has put forward.
Okay.
And so being that it's going to be a discussion, a negotiation process on those items, that's why we don't have an item for C.
Okay. So right now, we're on B,
Right, I know.
and they
I'm
are
sorry.
sunshining.
They're
and-
sunshining.
And then we'll come to us, and we sunshine, correct? But there,
Sorry, I tried to clarify and I totally confused it.
all right. So, we
I
got no more
apologize.
information than what is written right there.
Correct.
Okay. All in favor of item 8B? Oh, somebody needs to move it.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item C, 2024-25 Sunshine of the Middletown Unified School District Successor Negotiation Proposal, CSEA Bargaining Unit. We just heard what that's about, and I need a motion to approve.
Except
Move
there's
to
not-
approve.
Except there's not one there there's not an attachment. There's nothing to,
Right.
so you can move on to D.
Okay, so we can go to D. We don't even need to move on C.
Because we're
'Cause-
just doing the same that we just approved on B.
Okay, okay. Item D, new offers. We already voted
No.
on B.
We had
With-
C on there as a placeholder because we were still having discussions, but everything on your guys' list looks so good that. Yeah,
So we agreed to your sunshine. We haven't got one yet.
we're not going to have
We're
one.
not going to have one.
Now, if you agree to this, then that's everything there.
That's what we're going to talk about, is what's on your list.
Later and say,
Correct,
we want to add.
correct. Yep. To borrow from Katrina and the Waves, we are talking on sunshine.
No tricks.
None. Transparency. In public.
Thank you.
On the record.
Thank you.
All right, so item 8D, new offers, additional assignments, assignment changes, extra duty stipends, registrations, notice of intent to retire. The board will consider approval of personnel items. So I need a motion to approve the PAR.
Move to approve the PAR form.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0. Business and Facilities, approve resolution number 27-23/24, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Middletown Unified School District authorizing Tanya Michelle to sign on behalf of the governing board. Since she's now an employee, she's got to be able to sign. So I need a motion to approve that resolution.
Move to approve?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0. Item 9B, approval of the 2024-25 Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP. A public hearing was held on our last meeting, June 12, at a regular board meeting. This item is returning for approval now. So we need a motion to approve the Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP.
Move to approve?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? We had plenty of discussion last time. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0. 9C, approval of the 2024-2025 school year budget. A public hearing was held on June 12, 2024, where the budget was presented. The budget is now coming back to the board for approval. Yes?
On this item, somebody pointed out just recently a typo to me, so I would just like to mention that before the approval. On page, I believe it's 85, and the criterion standards, they ask you to put in a number of FTE that you are using for your budget projections for future years. That number should have been 81 across the board in all three boxes. It looks like on one of those boxes, I fat fingered and hit a 7 instead of an 8, and so it says 71 instead of 81. So I will correct that before it gets submitted to the state, and just wanted to acknowledge that typo for the approval.
So if we approve, that's with the knowledge that that typo will be corrected.
Yes.
So it has been moved, seconded? I don't remember.
We haven't.
We haven't moved it?
No.
Okay.
Move to approve?
I second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0. California School Dashboard Local Indicators. This is discussion and action. And all I gotta do is find it right here. It's almost here. Nope. Okay.
Okay, I wanted to come over here, be a bit more formal as I'm presenting to you as the board, as opposed to speaking to the public, try to help differentiate that a little bit. So as we were putting together the board agenda, we listed it as a discussion and an action item. It turns out that it is not, it does not require your approval, so it is just a discussion item. So information about the dashboard and local indicators. There are dashboard indicators that show up on the California School Dashboard. Would they have all the colors, our math achievement level, our English achievement level, our suspension rate, those kinds of things, where the state goes in and pulls data for us and puts it together on the dashboard. There are also local indicators that the state doesn't pull that data. There's really not data for the state to pull. But it is an opportunity for us to share information on these priorities of the State Board of Education. And so This is an abbreviated, abridged version. There's a longer version that is attached to the board agenda. And so this is going to be just kind of an overview. These are the 5 priorities that the state priorities that we will be reporting on. First, priority 1, basic services and conditions. State kind of breaks that down to 3 different areas. Teacher assignments and misassignments. And I know that, well, I don't know. I suspect that many of you, when you saw the 28 misassignments, had the same reaction I did of, I'm not sure how that'll translate onto the recording, but of a gasp. And so let me explain that those misassignments are not just teachers who shouldn't be teaching. In fact, they are teachers who should be teaching. They are just not yet fully credentialed. And so there are different ways that those teachers are authorized to be in the classroom as part of having being on a provisional internship permit. I said that right, thank you. Or a local assignment option. There is support that goes along with being an intern. Just like we talked about support for being a new superintendent, there's support for being a new teacher. And also something to keep in mind is that at the middle school and high school level, that it counts each period of a misassignment. So, bless you. So if I'm teaching on an internship, every period that I teach will be counted as a misassignment. So it's not even 28 individuals, it's 28 misassignments, including periods at the middle school, high school level. So,
Excuse me, I have a
yeah.
quick question.
Please.
If you have it in your head, how many total teachers do we have in the district?
well, we just talked about 85 FTE. We just talked about the number a minute ago.
81.
81, thank you, 81 FTE.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Okay.
And
So-
one clarification would be, so that's 28 periods.
There are some that are at the elementary level. When it's an elementary level, it's different. And then those that are at the high school level. So when you look at if you look at the more detailed information that's attached to the board agenda, you're going to see a really big number for the high school, and that's because they're counting periods.
Okay.
So, other questions before I move on?
I just wanted to say that as an intern teacher before becoming a full-time teacher and having gotten through all my programming just a couple of years ago, there is extensive mentorship as well as classes that you do need to attend night school in order to achieve this credential. And I got it through the NCSOE, be a teacher, North Coast School of Education, be a teacher program through Sonoma County Office of Education. And it's good to have people like this because they're usually coming in from other professions to come back to the community to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. Access to curriculum, this is frequently what we call our Williams report because of the case that, anyway. All students have access to curriculum materials. The facility repair status, again, there's more information. It doesn't come as a surprise to us that we have facilities that are in need of repair. It's why we're going through the bond project that we are, is trying to repair some of those facilities. Priority 2, implementation of state standards. It's kind of a straightforward, yes, we are implementing state standards through our curriculum materials, through our instruction, through our assessment. That's what we teach, is state standards. School climate. Our school climate is measured by the California Healthy Kids Survey, which is what CHKS stands for. This is an interesting survey in that the numbers are always a little bit mushy, is the technical term. But they're also the best numbers that we have. 5th grade students, basically 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th grade students take it. It's a survey that they take online. There's no real way of like checking to make sure that these are accurate kinds of things. But again, every year we take them. It's 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th grade students. And so it's the best data that we have to have an insight. And so these are some of the things that, frankly, as I was looking at the numbers that stood out to me, is why I chose these out of the big long list. One of the things that I found, and again, it's kind of interesting, when you look at, for instance, more fifth grade students said they saw a weapon at school than our seventh, ninth, 11th grade students. And it's one of those things where I really want to be able to go back and ask a follow-up question. Tell me what kind of weapon you mean. Like, do you mean a sharpened pencil could be a weapon? Do you mean somebody brought brass knuckles? Do you mean a gun? Like, tell me what you mean. Tell me more about this. And so this is why we emphasize so much with students, when you see something, say something. That we want to make sure that we have as much information as we can to address those things. I was super excited that 92% of our fifth grade students felt like students were treated with respect. A little bit more concerned that 7th, 9th, 11th grade students had a lower percentage of feeling like they had caring adult relationships. One of the things that's also interesting is that questions are asked differently at the elementary level than at the secondary level. So that's why they're worded somewhat differently. But those numbers concern me. I'd love to see those secondary level numbers higher, more in line with the fifth grade numbers. And so these are things that we're going to be working on for sure. It's also interesting looking at between 7th, 9th, and 11th that, for instance, caring adult relationships, 7th grade, 56, 9th grade, 42, 11th grade, 55. Those of us who have taught high school understand freshmen. And that, like when I was an assistant principal, our 9th graders had as many referrals to the office as the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade classes combined. 9th grade is just an interesting time, and that's reflected here. And so that gives us some marching orders and some guidance on what we need to focus on. And then the last one, priority 7, is access to a broad course of study. This is, again, kind of a yes or no. This is what is defined in Ed Code as a broad course of study, and our students have access to this. And so, again, it's kind of a yes or no. So where this goes from here is that now that we have reported to the board, we will report to the dashboard. We will enter it into the dashboard, and basically for the dashboard it is, have we reported it to you at the same time that we presented the LCAP? And yes, we did.
Okay, any questions? Thank you. I like the high-tech PowerPoint.
Right, the black font on the white background.
Yeah, very trendy.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
nice to
fancy.
see it.
It was easier to see. I will stick with it.
Minimalism is in.
Well, I am nothing if not trendy.
Okay, so we'll now, we need to approve.
No.
No, we don't.
Oh, it says discussion action.
Yeah, we weren't sure when we
we did
were.
it
We've done some research since we put the agenda together.
All right, let's move on to item E then, Prop 28, Supplemental Art and Music Plan. We're going to get good news, huh?
We are going to get good news. So the California voters passed Proposition 28, and that proposition provided some supplemental arts funding. The key word there is supplemental, that it could not be used towards arts programs that we already had in place. And for us as a district, our allocation is $213,653. And 80% of that is obligated to be spent on certificated or classified staff. That works out to $170,922. I'm having a hard time saying big numbers tonight. I don't know what that is. We are limited to 1% to indirect costs. Things like if these folks who are running these programs need to make copies, we're not going to charge them for the copies special. We're going to just wrap it up. And then, so that's that 1%, and that leaves us for 19% for other related expenses, which we'll talk about what those are in just a moment. So our Prop 28 plan in Middletown was good, but it wasn't 100% compliant. And so that's why we're coming back with an updated, revised plan. It is not required for us to go out to the community for input, but because there had been a little bit of confusion on the front end. We wanted to make sure that we did. We sent out a survey, had 151 responses. I will, again, in the spirit of transparency, share that one of the early responses pointed out that one of the challenges with it was there was not a response for my child is not at this grade level. So we asked people to fill it out for each one of their students. So if I have an 11th grader, a 7th grader, and a 4th grader, I would fill it out 3 times, once with each student in mind. Well, if you're filling it out for the 11th grader and one of the options is elementary music, well, I'm not going to participate in that. And so we quickly revised it and added in my child is not at this grade level to kind of take that out. The easiest way to look at this data is that the blue on the left is my child almost certainly would participate. Red is my child would probably participate. And so just looking for the options that had basically the spikes in blue and red. And so art, elementary music, elementary band, art enrichment during the day, after school art, elementary computer and coding class. And yes, that is specifically, computer and coding is specifically listed in the language of Proposition 28 in the code. Kind of took me by surprise. I hadn't thought of coding as art, but media arts is how they had it. So anyway, and then ceramics, pottery, all have, that's where our highest areas are. And so, with that in mind, and remembering that 80% of this is required to be spent on certificated or classified staff, the staffing that we are recommending is a 1.0 FTE art teacher that would do elementary and secondary, a half-time elementary music teacher. This position could be combined with the half FTE position that we currently have posted at the high school, and so could make that that position a 1.0, but half of it would be at the elementary, and that half would be funded through Prop 28, and then a half-time elementary computer teacher. So that would spend, these numbers are estimates, because you're never 100% sure of who's going to be in that position and what step and column and whatever they're going to be on. These estimates would add up to $161,500 out of our 170. So it would leave us some flexibility if we end up hiring people who are more expensive than we had anticipated. Don't want to paint ourselves into a corner. And then
Is painting yourself into a corner part of the arts
Part of the
program?
arts.
it might qualify as Prop 28. You're right. So the other 20%, again, that indirect cost would be that 2136, the 40,667 training, material, supplies, curriculum, partnership programs, needed facilities improvements. We don't know exactly what those things would be because we need to get the people on the ground and the programs up and running, and we'll figure out what those are, but we would be asking for approval for that plan.
Excellent.
Jeff, so could you go back up to the staffing? And I was just looking at the elementary computer teacher, and they're all teachers, but we could also use classified.
We
in
could
the
use
staffing.
classified, yes.
Thinking about it, elementary computer teacher, years ago, I was a elementary computer aide, instructional aide. Of course, it was a whole different setup, but I'm sure that, we might want to look at that. 40,000 seems to be, though, about what a classified person would cost for halftime equivalent. So, I don't know. I just want that to be played into it. Maybe a classified person could pick up one of those positions.
Yeah, and our thought is that this person would be asked to be the one providing the instruction, that our first hope would be to have a credentialed teacher doing it, who would have that training and background more likely. If we get to a point where we are not able to find a credentialed person, then that would be our next approach.
Okay, and I I understand that, the importance of having a credentialed person in a classroom with the kids. I understand that, okay.
Come to the mic. There's folks at home that want to hear you.
I'm just wondering if.
State your name.
Name, rank, and serial number?
Caida Valley. I'm just wondering how long the funding is for. If this is for a single year, if it's for multiple years.
We get the funding each year. From what we have seen and heard from the state, I don't anticipate, here's where you get in trouble. I anticipate that this will be ongoing. We anticipate that this will be ongoing funding, but we're kind of at the mercy of the state on that.
And it's in addition to what we already do.
Correct. Correct.
We already have somebody doing music.
Yes.
Be an additional person.
Depends on which person you're talking about, because if the person we're talking about was being funded through Prop 28, this is going to be a more compliant way of doing it than having a outside person come in.
Thank you. Anyone? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Prop 28 Supplemental Art and Music Plan.
Move, oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, move to approve.
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0. Item F, Consolidated Application, CONAP, 2024-25. That's in here.
So every year, the district submits something called a consolidated application. What that is an application for several versions of federal grants at the same time. And so you'll hear them referred to as the title funds, Title I, Title II, Title III, and such. And so what they are federal funds that help with targeted populations of students. So for instance, Title I is related to economically disadvantaged students and helping target and improve the outcomes of that population. There's also funding in there for homeless and foster youth, English as a second language, immigrant and migrant students. And so this consolidated application is our way of both certifying that we will meet their assurances to meet the requirements of the federal funding and applying for all of those different costs in the application process.
Okay. Streamlining the process, so to speak. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve the consolidated application.
I second it.
Moved and seconded. Now, do we have any questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hit this too soon.
Well, I was just reading
Somebody
on
came
some
in
of
a
it.
little late there.
Sorry about that.
All right, curriculum and instruction, we have SPSAs, which stands for School Safety and, no, tell me what that stands for. School Plan for Student Achievement. School Plan for School Achievement. We've got one for Coyote Valley. Can we do this in one?
Yes, if you guys choose
And is
to.
it action, or are we just receiving?
This
Okay,
one is action.
so on item 10,
This is the action from before.
we've received the school plan for student achievement from Coyote Valley, Minnecannon Elementary, Middletown High School, Cobb Mountain Elementary, and Middletown Middle School. So those are all who need to do it, correct? Does Lokonoma need to turn one of these in?
Lokonoma is considered part, for this process, Lokonoma is considered part of the high schools.
Okay.
They've combined site councils.
So can I get a motion to approve items 10, A, B, C, D, and E?
Move to approve.
I second.
And seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to make a couple of notices that one of the common denominators was chronic absenteeism, I can't say the word, yeah, thank you, has gone down, so I really appreciate, the work that, our attendance liaison put in this last year, and I hope it continues. I got a feeling it was timing, I'm hoping that it was timing, because I know we don't have that position anymore, but the principals really worked hard at it, and I appreciate that. But the other one I noticed too was the need to have training in Aries. So the numbers that are given just are as good as our program that we input. And so, and it seemed to be across the board that they mentioned, some more training in Aries. So I just wanted to bring that up too.
Thank you, and I appreciate seeing that the dates are accurate for the current times. For those who weren't here before, we received some of these that had dates. They just copied and pasted.
Yeah.
But there were circumstances that required such things. We got it all worked out. And now we've moved and seconded, and now any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? 5-0. All right. Business services, got nothing? Announcements, I'd like to say, Ashley, it's time for us to recognize that you have been very valuable, and you've done valuable work. Thank you. I don't know how else to do it other than to just give you one of these.
That didn't make her uncomfortable.
Thank you, Ashley. Pending agenda items, anybody got one on there or something they want to make sure gets there? You can contact me during our off time if you have anything. Important upcoming dates: special board meeting July 8 at 4 p.m. and our regular board meeting July 31st at 6 p.m. as usual. How about a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Way to go. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0, we're adjourned. Thank you.